to BTR's Elite Partners podcast and blog series, where we invite our elite partners to share what they're doing with technology and benefits. Hey, my name is Holly Brummett. I'm host of the series and business development coordinator. And with me is my co-host, Therese Tomasek. Hey, Therese.
Hi, Holly. Hi, everyone. I'm Therese Tomasek, and I am the consulting operations and vendor manager here at BTR. And we're just so incredibly excited to bring awareness to the market about our elite carrier and vendor partners.
Yeah, we are. This whole series has been fantastic to hear about what our partners are doing in the market to not only innovate and to elevate the experience of workforce as a whole, but to really drive the point of making HR lives easier, making employees' lives easier, making utilization of benefits easier and more understandable. So it's really been awesome to see our partners shine and sparkle. And they also help us shine and sparkle because they bring value to our clients and what we do for them.
No, they really do, Holly. You're absolutely right. And, we created these elite partnerships to really help employers and employees in all types of industries across the United States. HR technology and employee benefits can be complicated and overwhelming. And at BTR, we really aim to not only simplify the experience, but also improve upon it with creative and customized solutions for employers everywhere. Again, we are so proud of this program. And today we're even more excited to feature Flores on the podcast. There's a lot of changes, a lot of recent acquisitions, but at the core and at the heart of their services, it's remained the same, and they continue to deliver innovation, top-notch customer service, and things of the like. So we're really excited to feature them today.
Yeah, Dan from Flores was awesome to talk to. He shared a lot about kind of where they've come from and where they're going. And it sounds like, Flores is really onto something. They've got a fire lit behind them, and it's incredible to see how they've grown over the last few years of being our partner. So let's get into the conversation with Dan and talk about what Flores has going on.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our Elite Partner Series. Today, we are happy to have with us Dan Taylor from Flores. Hi, Dan. Welcome to the podcast. We're extremely happy to have you join us here today. Would you please introduce yourself and what you do?
Sure. It's my pleasure to be here today. My name is Dan Taylor. I'm the Senior Vice President of Flores and Associates, and it's my responsibility to lead the sales team and to steer future growth of the company.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. One of the things we get questioned here a lot at BTR is, what do your partners specialize in? What are they known for? So if you wouldn't mind, would you please share what Flores' claim to fame is?
Sure. Over 30 years ago, the company was started in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the primary focus at that time was consumer-driven healthcare plans, primarily flexible spending accounts, health reimbursement arrangements came along, health savings accounts. And so it's those account-based plans that are key to that consumer-driven healthcare concept that we specialize in. But along the way, we've added many other services such as COBRA administration and plan documents and billing services and so a few other things I'm sure we'll touch on today.
Yeah, you guys do a lot of really wonderful things for your clients. It's always a pleasure to work with Flores. I've had the pleasure of not only working from the front end, sales and whatnot, but I've also worked in the service side too, making files go and making sure enrollments happen. And Flores has been really awesome to work with. It's kind of neat to hear where you've come from. Can you talk a little bit about your growth and how you've grown into what you are today and maybe where you're going with that?
Sure. What's really great about Flores, and I'm new to Flores here in the last year or so, but I've known about Flores for many years. And at a time in my career when I was trying to compete against Flores, it was awfully difficult because in the area where they started, in the Carolinas, the Mid-Atlantic, they grew through primarily referrals and by reputation. And it was the relationships that they built with employers, but also through their brokers, that really created a very loyal market for them in the Southeast. And so our job is to take that and to keep expanding that out. But the team is extremely talented. A lot of technical skills that you experienced, I'm sure, when you were working on building file feeds and things like that. And so it's been really impressive to see, how they've grown from that to now where we want to go beyond just the referral model and the word of mouth model and go out and tell our story around the country.
Awesome. Well, in keeping with the conversation going, with your growth plan, I understand that you've had some key acquisitions recently. Could you tell us a little bit about those?
Sure. And our vision really is comprised of both organic growth as well as a growth through acquisition. Earlier this year, in fact, January 1st, we completed the acquisition of a nearby company called Pro Benefits, located in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And it was a similar company. Both kind of knew each other pretty well. And the time was just right to kind of combine forces and kind of put everything under the Flores umbrella. So we welcomed that staff and that team to the Flores team at the beginning of the year. And then we purchased another smaller TPA up in Erie, Pennsylvania called Beneflex. And then an acquisition that was more strategic was to buy a company that provided a service that we didn't offer at the time, which was leave management, or more commonly called FMLA administration. So we added a company called Leave Solutions back around April 1st.
Well, that's certainly exciting, and a lot of new services, to happen upon Flores with these acquisitions. What other new services are on the horizon for Flores?
Well, what was nice about these acquisitions, first of all, to cover what we acquired, with Pro Benefits, we gained a compliance team that provided compliance services that Flores didn't offer. So since the beginning of the year, we can provide ERISA wrap documents, we can provide premium only plan documents, and Form 5500 preparation.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, those have been very helpful, and certainly things that all of our customers are going to need in one way, shape, or form. And to have those now available from a team of dedicated compliance individuals that includes 2 attorneys gives us a very strong compliance foundation to be offering these services.
Awesome. That's really great to hear. So, as we kind of look in the market of employee benefits, there's a lot of technology that surrounds those employee benefits. So how is Flores, enhancing your services to kind of have that competitive advantage in the market?
Great. Well, it's an ongoing effort, and it's worth noting that the primary system that we use for all of our account-based plan administration and COBRA is on a proprietary platform that was developed by our own developers. And we continue to refine that and come out with enhancements on a regular basis. And we just recently came out with a new version, an updated version of our mobile phone app. And so we're very excited about that, especially heading into open enrollment season and for customers coming on for January 1 starts. And we also have a team that's dedicated to building those connections with customers' platforms for gathering the data that we need to do the administration that we do. And so, they've got a lot of experience, and we're always enhancing that process to make it more efficient, better prone to avoiding errors and things like that. So that's going very well.
That's great. I think, as we have, new people entering the workforce, how we get our information and how we communicate is changing. So having that mobile app for people to log into and having it be the same as a web-based browser is extremely important. And it's changed the game for sure.
Definitely.
When you've decided to participate in one of these plans and it's your money basically that is sitting there, you want to have a quick access, quick insight into what my balance is or what the status of a claim is, or the easy ability to just upload a photo of a receipt. You've got all that right in your pocket, and it's almost expected anymore that you have that capability. And so it's just a matter of making it as good as we can make it.
Yeah, well, and what we see from our side all the time is a new need for employee engagement. Now, employee engagement, that that has always been part of the strategy from day one, even when people were on paper. But it has changed so drastically because people are scattered to the four winds, majorly because of the pandemic, but because we've learned a new way to do work. And it takes a lot more effort to sometimes figure out all of those little technology, how to connect with people on their smartphone, how to send a text with only 20 words in it and engage people to do their open enrollment, right? So those are all different things that HR teams are having to figure out. And accessibility is going to be really, really beneficial. Having the accessibility through that mobile app is going to be beneficial for a lot of clients.
That's very true. There are two studies that we kind of have been keeping an eye on and used recently, one by McKinsey and one by Gallup, I believe. And they both measured why people are more likely these days to change jobs and what they're looking for. And some of the feedback is that connection or lack thereof with their employer, or not fully understanding the employer's vision, or maybe not feeling central to that employer's what they're trying to accomplish. And so part of our message is that you make very important decisions to offer benefits to your employees. Let's make sure that, one, the benefits meet the needs that they have, but that they're easy to use, they're simple, they're not complicated, that they can get the full value out of that and strengthen that bond with the employee.
Yeah, for sure. So we've talked a little bit about what's exciting. We've talked about kind of your growth strategy, some of the new services. Dan, can you talk a little bit more about what is staying the same? Sometimes people don't want things to change, the things that they like, they want them to stay put, right? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. The primary thing, and when you hear that a company is growing and growing well and doing some acquiring, it always makes people a little bit nervous that something's going to suffer as a result of that. And so one thing that stays the same is we have an account manager model where every customer is assigned a designated account manager. And so they've got a go-to person whenever they need something. And that model isn't changing even as we continue to grow. What we are doing, though, is we're finding better ways to support that account manager, provide them information that they need to be proactive when dealing with customer situations, and giving them quick access to help fix things. And there's a dashboard that the client has in our system, but there's also a dashboard the account manager has. And behind the scenes, we have a quality assurance team that's running up to 100 different audits a week for all of our customers, simply to find things that don't seem to fit, or there seems to be some sort of, something that doesn't work or is a potential problem. And that gets raised right up to the account manager to take a look at, identify, reach out to the customer, and resolve before it becomes a major issue. So that model is staying the same. We continue to hire great people and put them through a very rigorous training program. That's always been the case. That continues to be the case. We've had 3 different classes of new employees this year. And the first class is really just now getting to where they're starting to work directly and be assigned customers. So we have that happening on a routine basis. And again, that's a very in-depth training process. We know that getting data is very important. And so we continue to work very hard to replicate the experiences, Holly, that you had in terms of getting file feeds set up properly, making that work fluidly, making the system and all the efficiencies that come with it, work to their full effect. And, we commit to our brokers who are there for, they provide us, I would say, probably 95% of our business. And so we want to support them. And the best benefit I think that we like to tout is that our goal is to deliver silence. Brokers need vendors like us to complete the plan design and to administer those parts of the plan that make it all work. But they want to put in somebody that does the job, and there's a silence to it. There's no real big fires that need to be put out, or there's no noise that comes up through the customer. Hey, I've got a problem. And so our goal for our brokers is to deliver that silence. let them focus on what they need to focus on. Let us take care of what we do, and everybody's in good shape.
I've never heard that concept before. I think it's great.
I feel like, was it Domino's Pizza a few years ago? It made me think of this commercial that they had. It was pizza insurance. And it was like,
right.
It was like, we ensure that your pizza is going to arrive in a good order. It's not going to be turned upside down or anything like that. It's like pizza insurance.
Exactly.
Get through fourth quarter with peace of mind, knowing that your pizza is going to arrive hot and ready, and it's going to be delicious.
And that's all you want. Just give me the basics. I totally agree with that idea.
Yeah. Well, that's really awesome. I like that. The promise of silence. Yes. Oh man, that I'm sure there's an HR person hearing that going, I would like some silence during open enrollment.
I'm sure it's getting busy out there, and there's a lot going on, and that's the least we can do at this point, I hope.
For sure. Well, Dan, thank you so much for sharing about Flores. It's really been interesting to watch Flores grow, because gosh, when I first started in this industry, Flores was teeny tiny and everyone's like, who's Flores? But now you've become this really powerful organization with some good clout. You understand how it works, and you've done it the right way. You've not tried to amass sales, but you've made sure that, your service is top notch. And I know from our perspective, we see that all over the board, from top to bottom, from sales to deployment to execution of the benefits and the transmissions and everything. So really excited that Flores is a partner of ours.
Well, we're excited to be a partner as well. We really appreciate what you do for us, and vice versa.
Well, and it's also great to know that, regardless of the changes and acquisitions and all these big milestones that Flores is hitting, the core of Flores is staying the same. And that core just being, your service model.
Well, and we've talked about that. The sales team obviously is expected to go out there and find new business and develop new broker relationships. And our biggest selling tool is a great service story. And, there are others out in our industry that struggle from time to time. And, not that we're perfect either, but when you look at the retention that we have and the brokers that continually bring us business, week in and week out, month in and month out, there's value there that just builds that story to where we want to go out and share that with everybody, and be just a great resource for them to conduct their own business.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Dan. That's the end of our time for our podcast today. But Dan from Flores, we're really happy that you got to be on the podcast with us.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate the chance to talk to you today.
Of course. Now, to the listener of this podcast, if you are an employer looking for an HR technology solution, whether it's payroll, then admin, time and attendance, HRIS, HCM, COBRA, or even year-round one-on-one enrollment support, we have solutions that will fit your culture and your budget. Our elite partners are out there doing amazing things in the market, and we're totally here for it. So if you would like to get more details about some of the things you've heard on this podcast today regarding Flores or any of the other podcast episodes we have in the series, please email us at btrprojects@bentechre.com to connect with our experts. And we'll be glad to give you more information about Flores' services. Thank you so much for viewing today's podcast, and we hope you have a good day.